Bazinga! Woo! Alright, our bearers are in. Stoked! So, yesterday we were just having a bit of struggle with our splice joins, splicing the two timbers together. Like, most of them were good, but there was two or three that were like real hard to get right. And I measured the thickness of the timber, and there was about our overall size is meant to be 240, which we allowed for, but some of them are 235, and I'm going, fuck, what the hell is that? It's weird for KD, machine gauge KD. So I'm just going to go through with the laser. I'm going to check the heights, and we may have to, I'm not going to plane it all down to 135. We may have to put some DPC or something underneath the spots that have that, but we'll figure that out shortly. But first I'm going to get Fabiano, alright, to mark where our anchor piles are, which are the green dots on this plan all the way along. I'm going to get him to mark them with Dazzle, and then go through and put our 12kN anchor plate fixings on while I mark all this stuff out and figure it out. But yeah, 12kN pile bearer kits, stop the lateral movement of the floor. Lateral. But yeah, we're just going to do that, and then we'll start marking some joists, cutting the ends of our bearers off. Fingers crossed we've got them long enough, eh? Yeah. Alright, so what I've done is I've set all my string lines up on the outside of my building lines where it needs to be. We've got a fuck up. Put this bearer on, that's not my mark, but I leveled this up, and we're about 20 mil short. Now I have to I'm going to pull this bearer off. It's a bit of a play off between getting a center bearing point through here on our splice, or moving the whole thing along, moving this out of center by 20 mil and getting a good pairing point for our joist. Now I think that's far more important than having this centered, so we'll pull it off, move it over, and then we're good to go to start cutting the ends of our bearers to suit our perimeter.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to try and do the double catch throw.
Should have caught it with your teeth.
Like a dog, eh? Far out! Fucking west side to this! Far, undies are wet or what? Alright, so we pretty much got all our bearers in positions, cut all the ends, made sure all our string lines are square again, just double check, because we didn't know if the thumping might have moved them, but Fabian's cutting our joists now, got all our lengths. Now I've gone through and marked our we've got 450 center joists for our 190 by 45 H 1.2 joists all the way through. And I'm starting down this end here, right, so I can start laying back that way so I'm not fucking tripping over myself all the way. But I've come into a fucking bit of an issue. We've got a wing wall that comes out past here, comes past just to create a bit of style and flash to the outside of the house, instead of just being one big rectangle. So I have to go chop this off first. I'm going to chop it to the underneath side of our bearer, or top of our bearer, sorry, underneath side of our joist, and then we will start setting up. Now the way I'm going to set it up is another issue I've got is pretty much from end to end of the house is 6'2", so 6 meters 200, and all our joists come at 6 meters, a little bit bigger. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut all the joists at 6 meters 20, and then add a double boundary to the outside, and that will give us 6'2" overall, so we don't have to join all our freaking joists on here. You'll see what I mean in a second. It's only required for a single boundary, but I'd rather add that in than fucking do all the extra work to frickin' join it. Woo! Alright, double boundary on. Had to put the join here, unfortunately, because of my wing wall that sticks out, so it's a 6/8 all the way through there. But now I'm just going to set this up. I'm going to go 90mm off my string line because that's my boundary. Then I'm going to put a double 190 by 45 on there. Just going to bring it out 90mm. One thing I will say, it's fucking windy here at the moment, and we've got a freaking long string line that goes all the way down to the other end of the house. Now when it blows, that string line moves in and out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up joists every so often and wait for a real quiet spot in the wind, adjust it to where it needs to be, and then boom, nail it. And then that way I can put my string line on here like this, and I'm going to have 4 or 5 different points that are going to be spot on, instead of relying on the string line that's going to fucking bow every 1 second because it's wild and windy. Fabiano can't feel the wind though, bro. Far out. You suck! Beast, bro! Deuces! Good morning! As we were rudely interrupted laying our joists yesterday by the fucking pouring rain, we're going to get back into it, laying these out at 450 centres. There's a few things that we're just checking for, is like levels. I went through with the laser and checked the heights, but there's still a bit of play in places, so we might have to buzz a bit here, there and everywhere. But yeah, we're just going to get into fucking laying the wood, baby. Don't lie, Fabian, bro. I'll just quickly mention, I've got my string line set up in such a way that it's touching those 4 joists that I put in yesterday. The reason being, it was fucking windy and I needed to get a real straight line. So when we're installing our joists here, we need to be super careful that we're not touching the string line. I'll show in a sec, but you can see there's a little bit of fraying out here. I don't know if you can see that. That stuff actually interferes with the string line, so you've got to be super careful. I've actually been insetting the joist like 1/2 mil, just so we're not touching it. But yeah, to make sure our string lines are in the correct spot and fucking go for gold. Beautiful. Wow, this got a fucking chamfer on it or what?
Look at that.
Eh? Bro, that's you, bro. If you're a piece of timber, that's what you would be. You're bent as. Now, just offsetting this
off my mark a little bit because this is chamfers down. You can see it's only about 40 mil there, so just making sure that we're thinking, oh, now I gotta buzz that. Slide it over, put it on that piece of timber and I'll slide it down. Do you need to buzz any on your side first? There should be a mark about here. Can you see if they're... Yeah, give it a buzz. You're holding the planer upside down. That's not the way they're meant to fly, cuz. Okay, so we sort of didn't pick up, unfortunately, this bearer is lower than this one. Oh, well, this one's actually higher, so what we've got is a bit of a, you're right, got about a 5 mil gap between these two. I don't know what the heck happened there, but what I'm doing is I'm just using the router. I've marked both sides of this and I'm just gonna route 5 mil out of the top of this. That way it can sit down and in, and then we've got like a nice flush joist. A nice flush joist. But yeah, things like this, sometimes you'll miss it, so you just got to go back through, rectify it before you fucking carry on, otherwise it's going to come back and bite you in the booty. Right, so now we got our joists in. Yeah, look at this. What I've actually done is I've set the string line to the top point of our joist through here, and then just packed it out with a little nail. I'm fingers crossed that's going to be enough. And then what I'm doing is I'm just going to go through and check each one of these, making sure that our cuts are nice and square. And then if there's one that's sticking out too far, I'm planing it down. If there's one sticking too far that way, I put an X on it. And then I'm just actually, because it's so fucking windy and shit, I'm just going to add a couple of bits of DPC on the end. And then on the other side, I'll plane it off. And that should be fucking primo. But we got pretty good. There's about 3 of them that are about 2 or 3 mil out. So fuck, not bad for a fucking couple of bozos in the wind, eh?
I really hate to be the dude that fucks with us. You think?
I mean, hell.
Yeah,
couple of frickin' leaves flying through the wind. But so I've just done that now. Fabian's frickin' clamping and nailing these together, making sure that we got a nice straight line for our frickin' big wing wall. And then, you know what then? And then we're going to put our borders on, our boundary joists, and then nog out. And we're also going to check for our shower wastes and toilet wastes and stuff. Make sure that our joists aren't in the fucking way. Because we don't want to go doing fucking that. Okay, now we're coming to do our frickin' boundary. What I'm doing is I'm pretty much wanting to line the tops of the boards up with the boundary, right? So I've got Fabiano down there, and every second or third board, I'm just telling him up or down. So up, 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 yep. And now I'm only nailing the bottom of the board because these joists that we received were twisted and they're not quite square. So we're just gonna go through, do every second one, nail it on, and then we can come through, plumb these back up and nail it all off. So pretty good there. Down a touch. Yep. Sweet. And then now we just go back through and square them all up. Is that line fucking straight? Woo-hoo-hoo. Oh, there's a west side. Hey. Let's go like that. Someone frickin' made it a little bit too big. 1 mil. Alright. Perfect. Should really get a level and see if that's plumb, but going off that goes about there. Sweet, bro. Alright, we'll go through and square them up, eh? We're getting there, lads. Okay, let's talk about mid-span nogs. Okay, now here in New Zealand, any span of bearer greater than 1.8 meters, we need a mid-span nog through the middle, right? In this case, we've got about I think it's like 2.9 between our bearer points, and that's just a regulation in under 3604, and that's to stop the lateral movement of the joist. So you can imagine if there was an earthquake, you don't want all the joists to go and they all flop over like that. So that's just supporting the joists. Now on our mid-span bearer here, our middle bearer, I've done every 1.8 meters, and then on this side is a different again, because over here our bearer span is closer than 1.8. All I need to do is run nogs up to our endpoint there, and then start them again on the other side, which is kind of cool. And one last thing is when we're doing nog lines and stuff like that, this goes for anything, but we'll stick with flooring for now. We always leave the end nog out here. The reason being, if we went to go put this nog in, and then we started bashing these ones in, it could potentially bow our boundary joist out, and that's going to cause us massive problems. We're going to have to cut it out and tighten it back up again to get it straight. So it's far better to go through and do all your joists, all your nogs, and leave the middle ones out. Then we can sort of almost do a dodgy block system from end to end and make sure that we've got this dead on. But yeah, hopefully we've got all our nogs in the right place, eh?
Yeah, fucking A.
Fucking eight. Bro, look at that. Cranking the work. Don't worry. That's a fucking Wolf Border special. See that movement? That's how much movement's going to happen on your boundary joist if you're fucking pushing backwards and forwards, and it could potentially bow out. So this is the exact reason why we don't put that one in yet. Good morning. We're back on site. Fucking beautiful morning this morning. We smashed it yesterday, stoked as. Alright, so now I'm going to come through this morning and put our final nogs in to straighten our boundary joist, right? And I just come up with a few little bits and pieces. So what I did was I run my string line in a dodgy block, then I just come through and I'm checking this one here, got to add a mil on. So I wrote my measurement down there, measured this, added a mil on. This one here has got a little bit of a roll in it. So I'm just going to grab the nog and clamp those two together. And this one here, this one here needs to come in a little bit. So they're all a little bit different, but my issue is I've actually measured these nogs, right? And I came up with, so I measured this nog here and this nog here, and they should technically be pretty close to the same, but the measurements are, look at this, 236 and 245. I'm like, that can't be right, because that's 10 mil difference between those two. So I was like, what the heck? So I made sure I double checked this one, because this is probably the most important one. We've got our fixed point here. Then what I did was like, oh fuck, I better sight this down. Whoop! Huge bow in it. So when you see little bits and pieces like this where the measurement should be somewhat the same and they're like 10 mil out, you're like, fuck, better double, triple check things, and that's the issue there. Try and solve the problem. But as you can see, this one here, this joist is straight as, and then this one's got a hooer of a bow, both nogs, and I don't know why that's happened, but it's happened. So we're just going to pull those nogs out, and then we can actually whack our boundary nogs in, whack them back in to make sure our boundary's nice and straight. Alright, now that I got my frickin' boundary straight again, woo! Not my boundary, sorry, my joist straight. Go through and whack these nogs in. Let's see, baby, let's see! Where's my dodgy? What about... That's pretty good. Come along. A little bit more off it, but yeah, I'm just feeling it out. Like, you can sort of tell if the joist is sticking up, like this one here a little bit, so we can just buzz that off a bit. Really just taking about half a mil off at a time, not even. Look, 1 mil, but for some reason my plane is playing up, so it's a bit more than that. And I'll just dial it down a bit. Oopsies. When I need to. And now I'm just going to go along through here, and then I'll sit in the middle and I can get that, and then I'll go back down that end. Now it seems like this one's a little bit high, but what do we got going on here? Now playing this one down too low, or this one needs to come down a touch. Cheers, bro! Alrighty, Tim Tidy. Now we've come to do our bolts. We should have had these done earlier, but we didn't have them. They were still coming up from Auckland. Supplier issues. Just got made a little fucking jig here, right? Now this is a 190 piece of timber. This is a 400 splice. So all I do is I'm setting my timber up 10 mil off my splice, so I know I've got the center. I'm trying to get the center of my holes, right? And then I've come down 70. I've got a little mark there. And then there, boom, just do a little ant's cock, and then I'm able to use my massive as M16 bit to go all the way through, and then we're going to bolt with stainless steel because we're within 600 of the ground. Okay, so I've just been going through. We've got this pile to bearer connection here, this plate for our 12kN fixings. I just realized on my very last one, well actually I'll show you what I'm doing first. what I'm doing is I'm using a 3mm drill bit to drill through the stainless. Then I got a 12.5. I'm just spraying CRC on it. Well, the drills go on slow mode, number 1, not number 2. That's to stop the ends from heating up and going it. But anyway, on my last one of these, I was fucking thinking to myself, I'm fucking drilling through a plate that's holding the bearer to pile, or pile to bearer, for a bolt that's holding the pile to bearer. We don't need these fucking stupid plates. We've fucking got bolts holding it together. Ah! Bro, that is just the most frustrating thing ever on the last one, eh? And they're all nailed on, like, nah, easy as choice, fucking idiot. We'll wrap that video up here because we've sort of talked about everything. What are the main key points? Boundaries, string line, make sure they're straight. Nog lines, as you're nogging through, check every 3 to 4 joists, making sure you're nice and straight. What are the nogs for? Lateral twisting of them, so they don't fucking flip over. We've got our 12 km bearer kits. See these, our cyclone ties. That's also stopping lateral movement on every certain pile that's asked by the engineer. And then when you're planing, actually there's one more fuck up. When you're going through and planing, one thing to take note is if you're using a corded one, try not to get it stuck in the fucking and that's it for the fucking episode 3 of fucking Ahipara New Build, eh? See you next time!
I'm going back up to make my last stand. I'm gonna dust it off with my own hands. Black blizzard coming, old man keep running. You better get out while you can. We were broke, cold, let in, pushed out. Thought I heard it so, to up and leave this town. Head out west, they say, maybe California, and leave this dead land behind. So long, Oklahoma, I think they said farewell to me. Sleep beneath the stars in California, dreaming of that old used to be.